Being back, and if you just joined us, this is still Enterprise Morning, reaching you from Enterprise Television. Let's head to our main conversation for today. But of course, this is more like a food for thought and a sit-down conversation on what other nations might see as a hilarious, but in Nigeria, a hilarious situation that is. But in Nigeria, this is amongst the reasons we as a people can't seem to maybe understand the nature of our many multifaceted issues. Now let's get into the story and see what we have here. Let's start the story like this, in Nigeria that is, where the drums of power beat louder than the cries of the people. Now, this is a story often we would love to begin the same way, with a man who has fallen and other men who pretend to mourn his fall. But once again, the eyes of the world have turned towards our country. Senator Ekweremadu, a man who once sat in the red chambers of Abuja, now sits in a foreign cell, not for his service to the people of his constituency, but for the sin of turning another man's body into a field of harvest. In the cold court of London, justice took a form that our own soil has long forgotten. It was said that Ekweremadu, his wife Beatrice, and their accomplice, a doctor named Obinna, conspired to bring a young man from the streets of Lagos to the United Kingdom. His body was to be carved for parts, a kidney for their ailing daughter. But fate, that old tricksters turned against them this way, the matter came before British law and the gavel fell without respect for title or tribe. The senator was given 9 years and 8 months, his wife Beatrice 4 years and 6 months, and the doctor Obinna was given 10. And so the mighty man became a prisoner, that's Ekweremadu, not in the dungeon of Enugu or Kuje prison, but under the cold watch of a foreign warden. Now comes the curious part, ladies and gentlemen. In a move that has stirred both laughter and sometimes lamentation across Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the man who promised renewed hope, has sent a high-powered delegation to London. It's important to note here, Nigerians, and both at home and those in the diaspora, that the high-powered delegation sent by Bola Ahmed Tinubu did not go to London to seek trade deals, which we badly need in Nigeria, nor to return our stolen artifacts, or to speak for the countless Nigerians stranded in foreign prisons. No, they went instead to ask that Senator Ekweremadu, the same man convicted by a court of conscience, be granted clemency and perhaps have him returned home to Nigeria. A chieftain of the ruling party, the APC, proud as a peacock, announced it online in London when they arrived that our foreign minister, our attorney general, and other dignitaries had arrived in the United Kingdom to plead for Ekweremadu's release. And Nigerians, wary of their endless drama, asked quietly amongst themselves, for what purpose exactly? Now let's get to the gist of the story. Was it justice or brotherhood, patriotism or politics? For in this same land, another man, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, languishing in detention, his fate tied not to a foreign court, but to the whims of those who sent this delegation abroad to the UK. Now, if Messi were the president's trade, would he not begin at home where his word is law? Alas, this is Nigeria. Lots of people would conclude, a land where thieves are mourned and truth-tellers are scorned, where the hand that steals is covered in perfume, and one that points, yes, at that thief is cut off eventually, despicably. We have become a people who pity the powerful when they stumble, but mock the poor when they fall. The white man's court has done what ours have long forgotten. Yes, that is the truth. It has shown that no man, no matter how exalted, is above the law, which is sacrosanct. Yet our leaders in Nigeria, instead of learning the hard lessons, now go begging for the return of a fallen comrade. Not because this will drive our GDP in Nigeria. Let me repeat that again. Not because this will drive our GDP upward in Nigeria or help guarantee safety for Nigerians plunged in insecurity, with people not being able to go to their farms. But all of this is because his humiliation abroad stinks their pride at home, right here in our country. We have seen this dance before over and over again. When a tree falls in the forest, the termites gather, not to mourn, but to feast. If President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's delegation succeeds, what lesson exactly will remain for the youths who still believe that integrity matters? What message will echo across the land? That crime is forgivable if one's friend sits in high places? That power, for example, once lost can be reclaimed by protocol and persuasion? Now, there is a saying in my village that when a gourd breaks, you may gather the fragments, but it will never hold water again. Ekweremadu'S gourd, or his pot, is broken, and all the king's men cannot mend it. That is the fact, as much as we deceive ourselves. What remains is the shame of a nation that shields the powerful from the consequences of their own deeds. Someday, perhaps, yes, someday, Nigeria will, of course, tire of his rickety wagon of hypocrisy. Someday, yes, maybe someday, our leaders will learn that justice cannot be bartered like palm oil in the marketplace. But until then, the story continues. The same old story told in new tongues of a country forever forgiven its masters and never, unfortunately, forgiven itself. That's what we have today on our main conversation. I believe this would be a food for thought for us, that we need to save Nigeria.